Hi, I'm Josh Fielstra, product specialist for Native Instruments, and I'm here showing off some of our new products. We actually announced 5 new products on October 13th, and one of them is Absynth 4. I have Absynth 4 loaded up here. This is a new instrument. It's an update on our Absynth 3 plugin. And Absynth has always had kind of a reputation for being the trippy Native Instruments synthesizer. It's known for kind of elaborate, long evolving soundscapes. Gets used a lot in sound design. But it's a very capable synthesizer, and so in this version we wanted to update it to make it far more usable because it is a complex synthesizer, so we want to make it easier for people to get around, as well as adding some new basic sound generating type features. So both the sound and ease of use. One of the first things that you'll notice that's new to Absynth is this kind of integrated browser. This is what we're putting in a lot of our new instruments. We're taking some of the R&D done in Core and putting it directly into the instrument. This is actually a Core browser, and if I want to find a sound inside Absynth, I can say I'm looking for a bass sound that I want to be FM, cold, so on and so forth. And as I make these choices, all my preset list on the side here is getting smaller and smaller. I'll load this one called Slapback. And that's a sound that meets the criteria that I specified there. So it makes finding sounds much easier, which is good because Absynth has over 1,000 sounds with it. 200 new sounds plus all the sounds from previous versions of Absynth. So you've got a lot of sounds in there to work with. Something else that's new is this performance page. We've greatly extended the MIDI functionality of Absynth so that you can automate and MIDI control various parameters inside Absynth much more quickly and much easier. I'll actually start with a new patch to give you an example of how that works. I've got a new sound loading in here. I've just got an ordinary sine wave. I'm going to drop a filter on it, and it's a 4-pole filter. If I want to automate or MIDI control any of the things on this page or any of the other pages, I can actually just right-click and say I'm going to assign that to macro control 1. Now if I come back out to my performance page, there's the MIDI assignment I just made. And of course that can be MIDI learned. So I'll go ahead and learn that. I'll move a knob on my controller keyboard, and I'm actually controlling the filter cutoff. The cool thing about all of these macro controls is that they don't have to have just one controller inside of them. I can go back to that same patch page, right-click on the resonance, and also add it to that same macro. I'll also give myself a saw wave here so we can have a little more interesting effect. So now what I've got, if we go back to this page, I have both the filter frequency and the resonance being controlled in one go. And of course I can also come in here and change the depth individually for each of those controls. So I could have 5 or 6 or 7 different parameters being controlled by one macro, each with its own depth control. All of that can be MIDI learned and automated. So it's kind of an open-ended MIDI control feature inside of Absynth, greatly improved on previous versions. Something else that's new. If you're used to Absynth, you might be used to the Absynth signal flow, where I start with an oscillator, I go into a filter, and then I go into the mod tab. And I have that actually times 3. 3 of that signal path in parallel. But now I can kind of freely arrange all of these modules. I can say, hey, I want to go from an oscillator into a wave shaper, and then that passes into a filter. I'll make this one a filter. I'll leave it at a filter that will run into another filter if I want a ridiculously steep cutoff. So I can kind of change what each of these are. And it's kind of departing from semi-modular into kind of true modular, so you've got a lot more control over the signal flow here. We also have a new sound generating source inside Absynth. You might be used to some of the existing oscillator choices, but we also have something called sync granular now. You can actually do granular synthesis not just on samples, but also on simple single cycle waveforms, bearing in mind that Absynth gives you the ability, of course, to make your own waveforms if you want. So if I wanted to, I could actually draw my own waveform directly in here and then come back to my patch page and perform granular synthesis on that waveform. So kind of a cool new sound generating source inside there. You can also morph between waves. This is definitely one of the trippiest new features. I'm going to go to morph waves here. I'm going to create a new one. What this is I can actually have 2 different waveforms and morph between them in real time. So here's waveform A, here's waveform B, and there's the result. It's probably the most fun if you do something like stick an LFO on it, which is exactly what I'm going to do here. So I just assign an LFO to that. I'll increase the amount. If I come back to my patch page, there's that morph happening in real time. Of course, you can choose whatever waveforms you want to be doing that morphing. So that's just a couple of the features. They're all new inside Absynth 4. There are, of course, more, and this is available right now.